Welcome back to episode 31. So the shell is currently with Dennis at Classic and Retro Restorations, and the engine is with Paul Jeffries waiting its rebuild. So it's my job to get the rest of the car parts cleaned, repaired or replaced, so that when the shell is ready and the engine is finished, everything can start to go back on. I made a start on this rod change and it's definitely salvageable, it's just a little bit worn out. So I cleaned it up and I stripped it all down with the intention of putting it back together with new grease and new fittings where required. The grease is pretty much solidified, so I'm glad I took it apart now rather than put it back on the car and have to remove it later. Plus it'll give me a chance to clean it up and paint the exposed metal parts. I have been using Hammerite, but I recently switched to POR 15 and done a little video which I'll upload soon. I had planned to finish the rod change in this video, but I may have accidentally slipped when cleaning with a wire wheel and put my thumb out of action for a few days, so I ended up switching to something a little less physical and went to put the card back together. I had planned on filming the car rebuild, but decided against it because I really didn't know if what I was doing was correct, and I didn't want to put something on YouTube that could potentially be copied and it wasn't right, especially something as important as a carburetor. There seems to be too much of that going on at the minute, and I've fallen prey to it myself. But basically I bought this carburetor kit and literally just replaced everything that needed replacing and left a few things that didn't. In the meantime, Dennis has been working on the body shell. The car was all braced up, and the first job was to remove part of the floor and the oversills to see how bad things were. I made a total hash of the toe board, so Dennis sorted some of that out for me, and I'll be doing a little bit more on that later on in the repair. We was then on to sorting out the new boot, as the old boot was beyond the economical repair. There'll be quite a few smaller pieces to fix, which will be done later on. But once the boot was in, the next job was sorting out the floor, and I'd already bought a full heritage floor, so that saved a lot of messing about for Dennis. A few days later, my thumb was usable again, so I managed to finish cleaning the rod change and associated parts. Instead of the Hammerite, I used the POR 15 and they came out really well. The indicators hadn't been functioning properly, so I stripped them down and was able to repair them, and I cleaned up the steering column with some sandpaper back to bare metal and coated with a POR 15. I've also got to strip this number plate light fitting and sand it up ready for painting when the car goes to the sprayers. Now I wasn't the only one painting. Paul had got the block back from the machine shop and applied the first coat, and it's looking a lot different. I wasn't sure what colour to go for, so I went safe and went with green. Back at Dennis's had more progress on the shell. The front had previously had some repair work carried out incorrectly, which had caused a few problems with the alignment of the rest of the front end, so I decided just to rip the whole lot off and start again. The car requires a complete left hand side and the inner wings are going to need repairing. There's going to be some fiddly pieces to sort here, but they'll look great once they're finished. The new back end has also been welded on, and it's amazing to see just how much the car has transformed in the last week or so. So fingers crossed, it shouldn't be too long before the car's being prepped ready to be sent to the paint shop.